welcome to Breaking Bitcoin. For our daily market updates, Thursday, November 19th, 2020. I'm Crypto Jack, and I'm joined by two of our team analysts, Alex and Jason. How are you guys doing today?
Good Thursday, everyone.
I'm well, thanks.
Yep, big happy 18K, almost 18K on and off Thursday. Of course, today we're going to be getting into the charts and Bitcoin's price. Going to be doing a little bit of analysis today. And of course, we will be taking your requests. We will be reading some of the comments in the live chat, so be sure to leave your requests and anything interesting in there. You guys know how we usually do this, so we'll be passing the torch over to Alex very shortly. Currently, Bitcoin's sitting at $18,007. One of these lead stories we'll be looking at today is going to be, of course, this one from Cointelegraph, which is time is our best friend, Bitcoin's 12-month trajectory to 100K. And the article goes on to say that Bitcoin 500K is not unreasonable within a decade. So if your hopium juices weren't already flowing, they probably will be after this article. Beyond that, if we take a look at crypto bubbles here real quick, we can see that there's been a few decent gainers in the alt space. You know, some money might have cycled into this area, and we see giant gainers like Sushi up 44% today. Other notables are going to be YFI up 20%, this Rune token 14%, CRV 15%. I see Unit token up about 10%, Waves 13%. So there's some gainers in the alt space. Of course, our analysts will be probably looking at a few of those. And if you have any of your own alts or other markets you want us to look at, again, drop that request in the chat. We will eventually get to them. So, all right, I think that kind of covers this little intro here. Currently above 18K. Anything I'm forgetting? Oh yeah, I'm going to quickly scroll through the live chat and shout a few people out. But in the meantime, I'm going to move the scene over real quick to Alex's monitor. All right, I think we got Alex on the screen right now, and I'm going to quickly say hello to everybody in the live chat. So Alex, I'll be having you take it away very shortly. Longbeard in the chat says hello with a rocket smiley. Yep, we're going to the moon, boys. Subtextually waves in the chat. Hello, subtext. Alex in the chat. Longbeard already mentioned. Damian Hughes says hit the likes or GTFO. Yeah, boys, hit the likes. You see that like button down there? It says 18 likes, 4 dislikes. Hit that like button. Don't let us get ratioed, guys.
That's pathetic.
I see you got a couple requests already coming in from subtext.
Yep.
Very cool.
I'm trying to grab them.
Yep.
Make
All
sure
right.
to just put your requests in the comment section there, guys. I'll be picking them up during the show, and we'll hit them towards the end or whenever we get to them. So.
Yep. Jason usually is on the back end cataloging everybody's requests and stuff, so we do keep a note of what people request, try to get to them all. David Rice
You're
says,
in this ship.
David Rice says, hello all, B-Flow, heyo. Boris Bitcoin asks, what are our thoughts on sushi? Yeah, we'll probably answer some of your sushi thoughts shortly. Damien Hughes asks for comp and says sushi's eating Uniswap's lunch. And Mr. Unicorn, come on people, hello there. Yep, Mr. Unicorn says, don't forget to hit that like and hello to everybody. So, time to get into it, I suppose. Alex, want to take us through Bitcoin and maybe the last couple days of action? I know we busted through 18, and now we seem to be maybe setting up for another assault. What do you guys think?
Well, I put up a market analysis for the members on Tuesday. I think it was, or was it yesterday? I don't remember anymore. They all kind of blend together after a while.
2 days ago.
It was 2 days ago now. Okay,
Yep.
I was wrong. Basically, I think we're topped out here, guys. We've finally broken the parabolic trend, which is, how the trend gets, more and more upwards over here. So we broke the parabolic trend here, and I really feel like we're just kind of ranging in this spot right now. I imagine we'll likely retest the top of this range right here, area up here. I've got like 6 different charts here. Let me find the one I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. You can see we sort of start to establish this range all the way back a couple days ago on the 17th. We pumped above the range, but we've fallen back into it, and we've just continued to trade sideways within this general area here. Uh, I more or less expect this to continue with the caveat that we could easily retest the high here. Yeah, I'm really waiting to see what happens here on Bitcoin. Earlier today, Bitcoin broke its all-time high market cap. So while each Bitcoin is worth less than the all-time high, there's more Bitcoin in existence. So right now, Bitcoin's market cap is higher than it was all the way back at the all-time high in 2018. I thought that was an interesting statistic.
What was that again?
Bitcoin's market cap broke its all-time high today.
Yeah, so
Oh yeah.
even though price is below all-time highs, we got more in circulation, so we're market cap is topped up above all-time
Well,
highs.
you also have to think about the time that it's been up here as well, in consideration to how fast it wicked up and wicked back down. I mean, we've never been hanging out at these price levels before, so.
Well, no, I agree. I think that's also a reason why this area is kind of resistance. But what I'm trying to say is that there's good reason to think that this would be a spot where Bitcoin would pull back. Besides just a break of a trend line or some signs of weakness in price. Like what fundamental reasons could there be? Well, we've got the increasing sentiment about Bitcoin. I was talking with a member about this in chat the other day, yesterday, about how oftentimes large amounts of positive sentiment are a sign that a market top, maybe a local market top, is in, just like times of incredible negative sentiment are signs that market bottom is intimate or is imminent. So I mean, we're seeing a lot of signs of extremely positive sentiment here
Yeah,
at a
euphoria a little
place
bit.
where some market euphoria here in a place where we would expect a pullback. It's price doesn't have to obey my thoughts on the matter, but I think those are signs that we should take into consideration here as we approach here. Got a nice large volume divergence yesterday as well. As you can see, we did not make any headway despite all this volume here, which is much higher than these 2 days. I think that's another sign that we might be topping in this spot. So I think there's plenty of reasons to consider that this run might be over for now. Like maybe we just pull back even to maybe even back in the 15K range. I don't know for sure, but like this run feels over to me.
I mean,
Jason?
I certainly get your sentiment about that, especially with
Yeah.
price hanging out how it is and stuff
Mhm.
like that. But I mean, coming from me, just because I literally
Yeah.
just posted a signal for the group on a continuation long, but that really
Yeah.
doesn't have very much to do with my sentiment. That has more to do with just a back-tested system that's giving me a continuation long that works 72% of the time. So I mean, right now, I'm very interested to see what price does because I really do think that we have potential to for a blow off top out an all-time high here.
Mhm.
Because I mean, price is just being super resilient, and last night I feel like that should have been the moment that we bottomed out. Like that recovery over last night, I think is a really bullish sign in my head that we're going to continue to make new all-time highs on the daily.
So the spot
Whether
right here. Right.
sorry, I can't see your chart. There it is. The lag between YouTube and your chart is just crazy. So it's okay. Yeah. What are you looking at here now? Yeah,
Right
yeah, yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
last night I do feel like that recovery without hitting a new low, I really think that's a really bullish sign for continuation. That's one of the
Mhm.
reasons why I did post that 4 hour continuation long because I don't actually usually post continuations that often. But I feel like this is a special case, and you brought it up as well. I mean, we've been having a great run these last 2 months. Most signals are playing out, so I mean, long till you're wrong, right?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of merit to that, especially when you've got a working system. You should just, I mean, if your system is selling it along in a place where, I mean, we're above the baseline, everything, I think there's a lot of merit to that.
I mean, yeah, looking at the 3 day and stuff, it's just kind of exhausting to look at that and go, I'm gonna take a long here.
That's true, but at the same time, there,
It is what it is, right?
yeah,
That's why it's good to
oh,
not
we
have
were talking about
emotions
here.
while doing this.
Mhm. Ethereum's pretty interesting in this spot. We've continued holding here above 470, which is look over here. We're basically holding above the weekly and daily high here. So daily high over here at 440. Am I reading that right? No. That's the close. So 480, 475 area. So that's kind of where we're hanging around right now. And if you take a look on the weekly, we are still well above the previous weekly close, and we kind of continue to make inroads into resistance. So uh, I gotta say, it would not take much to push Ethereum over into another run. I mean, we're really hanging around support, I guess you could say, here for Ethereum Bitcoin. But on the other hand, to take a big Ethereum long here is to say that you think there's going to be a reversal here on Ethereum Bitcoin, which yeah, good.
I was just looking at Ethereum here on the 4 hour, and if you like, you can draw a textbook ascending triangle with a premature breakout throwback and uh, support and continuation holding right now. If you put a horizontal line at about 463 on price on the 4 hour.
Okay, so this is kind of what you're talking about
Yes,
here.
right there. Boom. That's perfect. And then you see, I actually like it. No, go back. Take your diagonal line and take it up to where it follows nicely, and then it fell out of it. Yes, that's perfect. I
Okay,
think
so
that.
it's like kind of like a double throwback in this position,
Yes,
like
I think
throw off.
that's a fake out to the downside, and then you got your buyback, and then boom, you got your breakout, and now support is holding at that. What was resistance is becoming support at that around 463 level. I think that's a textbook descending triangle. I think that's right for continuation as well.
There's a lot of merit to that. I mean, we have all these wicks into previous
Yep,
resistance
a lot of price
support right here.
absorption, no lower
Yeah,
lows,
yeah. I
which
mean,
you would really expect with this volatility.
yeah. Okay. I mean, all these cells did not break support. This didn't. This didn't. And then
Which
neither did this wick. And then you got to wonder. It's like, okay, well, I mean,
mhm,
sellers have stepped in this spot, and
they had their chance, man.
support's not breaking. Yeah. And
And that's the
buyers,
same feeling as I
sellers,
had last
and
night
now it's time for buyers to step in again, most likely.
because
I see that.
I was really waiting for a lower low on that wick on Bitcoin last night. So I'm like, all right, that'll kind of invalidate me because I was expecting a wick because of the volatility, but I really
Yeah.
surprised to not see that at least take the liquidity out. So I think that's a lot of support for the bulls,
Hmm.
and for the time being, of course.
Yeah.
It could change on a
Only
dime,
thing
but
that gives me caution is, we've got this 12-hour bearish divergence that's printing right here, which we may or may not get at the
yeah,
end of today.
that's not confirmed
Yes,
yet. So
it's not confirmed yet. It's it's just something to keep our eyes on.
mhm.
Ethereum, Bitcoin here, as you can see, just barely holding on. So
Weed.
as you can see, this area was resistance, currently support for us. But if there were any place that Bitcoin or that ETH Bitcoin would bounce off of, this is the spot. Although I think at this point, if we're already in this area, Ethereum Bitcoin might as well come down and touch this point of control, right?
I mean, you feel like it would.
Yeah. So I think
We
once
might see
Ethereum
another.
Bitcoin gets in this area, then we should start looking for that reversal.
I think it'll look very similar to that other wick that came down, then got bought back up. I think that something very similar will happen.
Okay, so currently Bitcoin dominance still rising. Bitcoin's still the only game in town. Seeing a little bit of weakness here on lower time frames. Bearish divergences here, but so far, Bitcoin's holding up pretty well against almost everything except a few specific coins in each of the particular baskets. So all perp here is it's testing the highs here, much like I think all perp reminds me of XRP USDT in this spot. So XRP being one of the big alts, obviously. However, Litecoin is leading the pack in this spot. So let's where are you at? Here we go. Litecoin up 8% today, retesting resistance again. I don't see this not breaking back into this prior trading range here. Yeah, I mean, it seems obvious that it'll continue on here. Litecoin USD breakout.
Yep.
So
right.
let's look at
almost
this on the
there.
weekly. Yeah. So solid, convincing here. I would consider this area right here to be where you would want to buy, because like right here, don't buy the top of a big green candle right here. I would wait for a pullback into this area. We've got a nice consolidation area here. You can see it wicked up into liquidity here, down here into this area right here. So I think this is solid to try and recapture. If you're maybe you took profit up here, maybe you're trying to get in now. But that's what makes the most sense to me. You can see we've already bounced off this area once as support. So maybe we won't even retest it. You think we'll just keep going?
It's a possibility after that. What would appear to be a hanging man candle, but absorption.
Well, this is a nice parabolic movement. I mean,
Mhm.
you can see it. It's very clearly has a.
But right there, I like that you're marking that out because I do think that when you get that trend, you'll have a wick that goes all the way back down to that trend line.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Like we'll wait till we get a break of this trend and wait for a return to this trend, which is likely to continue. Yeah. You just, you guys got to be really careful buying at resistance in the face of a parabolic trend like that. It's much more likely we get a trend, a return to some sort of average, return to the mean, and then continuation of the trend. But yeah, Litecoin leading the charge on major alts. Look back over. So far, DeFi and exchange coins also doing a little better than Bitcoin today. So let's take a look at those. I see. It's a few big ones, and then most of the other ones are languishing. So Meta up 20% today. Pretty solid. I would say this is probably good for a continuation right here for Meta. Solid weekly signal.
You've already had it.
I don't know.
Down.
I think we should still range a little more in this area for Meta.
I don't like that that wick. Go back to the daily. I don't like that wick hasn't touched the bottom of its like little support.
Right there.
The weekly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that wick down. I would have liked to see it at least touch the top of the wick next to the green candle before continuation.
I don't understand. You want to see it?
See that red doji before the big green candle?
Yes. Oh, right here.
Not that one, the one that's right next to the big green candle. So that high, what I would usually like to see is the new candle that opened up. See how it tail wicked down?
Yeah,
What
we
I
did
usually
miss it
like to
by
see is,
a few cents.
so that's where I think that might still fill.
Okay.
But that's just something I like to look for.
It's
But
definitely, yeah, this was clearly a big buyer
wow.
just
Yeah.
in this spot. Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. No retracement at all.
Uniswap, I would classify this as still ranging at a high. So, we've retraced some from the high, but we're still kind of right back in the point of control area.
You're still on the underside of that trend line, so I would still consider that resistance.
Yeah. I think Uniswap definitely has a run coming, but I wouldn't buy here expecting like a big continuation upwards. I think we still need to like kind of return to this area and just kind of consolidate a little bit more in this range while big institutional entities accumulate. I think that's what we really need to see here. So YFI, big breakout this week. So I would expect this area up here to be resistance. I imagine we'll probably wick up into it.
What's the total supply on that?
I there's only like 20,000,
Yeah, like
15,000.
20,000 or something like that. That's why the damn price is so high.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems to be going in contango with Bitcoin now.
30,000. Here we go.
30,000.
Yeah.
What did that open up at?
So low, you will hate yourself forever if I show you this chart at how low the price of YFI once was.
Yeah, and not even that long ago.
Yeah. So beginning of alt season, right here, $3,000.
So it's basically the same as Bitcoin, man.
Oh yeah. I would say so. We can look at the YFI Bitcoin ratio. Let's see.
Pretty damn
We've
simple.
had resistance here, support here at 1 Bitcoin,
V bottom.
resistance, support, takeoff. So according to the YFI Bitcoin ratio, this spot is kind of resistance / support.
I would take the very bottom of that wick, that red wick that's a little more to your left. Yeah, I bet it touches the very bottom of that wick.
Okay.
That's how I used to. That's how I used to trade them.
I can see that.
But like, it's not like it would just touch it. Like, it would at least touch that point. So that's where I would take my take profit, and then it might go higher than that. But at least I could get out.
Yeah, I think this whole area right here this is probably like several $1,000s more. So
yeah, just like Bitcoin.
Yeah. So it looks like a small distance on this chart right here, but in actuality, that distance is probably the distance from here from 28,000 all the way up to 33,000. And then so I think that makes sense. So we have resistance here on the USD chart in a few $1,000s, and we have here resistance coming up on the Bitcoin chart, ratio chart, in a few million Satoshi. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe we could get a pullback into this spot right here, and then you could get try and secure a continuation on the lower time frame. But if you're swing trading it, I wouldn't. I wouldn't buy this spot right here.
It's already passed.
Yeah, because we'll probably get some sideways trading, retesting, and stuff like that in this area.
Especially when it costs like what 1.6 Bitcoin.
Yeah, just buy a Bitcoin, guys.
Right at that point, just buy a Bitcoin.
Ren looking really rough here, trapped under support trend resistance. I've been talking about this, how just Ren just looks terrible ever since this area right here. So further continuation for Ren Bitcoin. I not interested in grabbing this in the spot. Balancer, I think we can get continuation all the way up into this area right here. You can see there's a nice little spot on our BPVR. This is also a nice consolidation area right here. So you could probably take this here from 13 up to like $16 right here. But then I would want to see a bit more down, more consolidation here for Balancer. I don't think, even if Bitcoin pulls back here, I don't think we're going to get an immediate alt season, guys. A lot of these pumps on DeFi, on a lot of these shit coins, they feel like recovery from a technically oversold position. There's sellers were exhausted. Price has gone down a bunch. Buyers were kind of eager to get back into the market. Price moved back up, but I think I would love to see like another government stimulus or something like that before the next alt season. Right now, especially we're entering winter. I mean, I don't want to get too in the weeds, but surely all of you know people who aren't doing well during the pandemic, who have lost their jobs, parents who are stuck at home watching their kids. There's record long lines at food banks in Texas and other states. I just happened to see a news story on Texas. I'm not picking on Texas here. The alt market is driven by retail demand because a lot of institutions won't touch the alt market. It's just the legislation isn't there for it. The liquidity for them isn't there for it. So that's why a lot of times when we see retail euphoria, that's when we see alt season, like we saw earlier this year, which was, by the way, after government stimulus. So this is all macro speculation on my part, but I think there's a lot of sense to it.
I see what you did there.
I gotta say, I've been in the market for a few years now, and it's never just like alt season, Bitcoin, another alt season right away. It just doesn't happen like that. There's a time where like the entire market cools down,
and there's always a catalyst too. If you always look back, someone will talk about the catalyst of what happened to cause it, like the initial one that caused it. Like, okay, Bitcoin hit all-time highs and then just needed somewhere for that liquidity to sell out of, so it caused the alt boom. So like, is that what's going to happen again? We're going to hit all-time highs and then get a necessary retracement for market algorithms, but then within that retracement, when we go into a bear market, we get another alt. So, I mean, the exciting thing about it to me is we are seeing the money come in, whether it's fast or slow. But I mean, look at Bitcoin's rise right now. The money's coming in, so it's going to happen. I mean, we're flooding this market with money, and it's just in its infancy at this point. And I mean, we're talking about it. We've been talking about it for the last like 5 months. We've seen Bitcoin go from 9 grand to 18 grand in just a couple months. Like, it's not far off from its all-time highs. I mean, we're really doing it, guys. Like the money is coming. Whether people talk about it, whether it's going to be adopted and all that stuff, like that doesn't really matter. It's happening. In my opinion, at least.
I think this is exactly right. Adoption is coming, but of course it's not going to happen all at once.
It can't. There has to be a gigantic wealth transfer, and that's why Bitcoin excites me so much. Because for the first time in history, the regular public, the middle class, people like you and me, can get in on it without having to be behind closed doors with a bunch of rich people.
Yeah, well, that's true. I feel like the boat has largely left. I mean, if you haven't already packed your bags, good luck doing it at 20K,
well, I mean,
right?
I agree.
Sorry, audience. If you're looking to get rich now, you're too late. Don't watch our show.
Yeah, you'll just get mediocrely wealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is where I think
I agree. I obviously I don't think the boat has left. I thought that right around this price in 2017. Actually, I mean, Bitcoin's right around this price, and I think all of us this was like December of 2017, and people were desperately buying crypto thinking that the boat had left. 3 years later, here we are at this price. I don't think the boat's left yet.
And I would agree with that as well. And look at any market, all markets have retracements. I mean, you're going to have another time to buy back in, but if you're looking at the long run on this, yes, I think you should be dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin all the time.
Thank you.
I was just saying that for the great majority of people out there, particularly on the margins, they're not.
By the time most people get it, it'll be too late. You're right.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is where I think alts. I don't know if I used the word shine, but you know, just as Bitcoin breaches all-time highs and hits a new level and attracts all this euphoria and excitement, people show up and they realize they're a little late, and but they still kind of want to get in on the mad gains, and like you guys pointed out rightfully. This is where retail gets fleeced, right? They start looking for the next Bitcoin, the next big thing that's going to perform like Bitcoin. They kind of want to get in on Bitcoin on the ground floor, and that's what some of these alts kind of offer, right? So I think what we kind of need first is that huge euphoric wave of price appreciation that attracts all the suckers and dreamers who think that they can repeat the success again. I mean, we saw that in 2017 with the alt space. So I guess what I'm saying is buy Bitcoin and expect rampant speculation on alts to continue deep into the next cycle.
I mean, it has to. It's a necessary part of any market because if you're going to have this crazy high fluctuation with volatility, raising prices so crazy high, they have to have a place for it to go. Like when it sells off. I mean, it doesn't just go boom USDT and then like that's not what they're always going to say that it's going into all the alts or whatever. Like you can never prove where it's all going. I guess you could with on-chain analysis, but it's inevitable that you're going to have bear markets and it's going to cause money to go into other markets. I mean, I think the crypto market as itself is really just establishing itself, and I think over time we're going to see that like the Nasdaq, the Dow, the Q, all these go into more of a decentralized type exchange.
Fingers crossed.
Indeed. All right.
Well, I mean, we live in a digital society, man. Why wouldn't that happen? I mean, it's got to catch up.
Maybe.
Yeah, but you would think. I mean, we live in a digital society, and yet the international system still uses SWIFT, which is like it takes.
Yes, because there's a bunch of corrupt bastards who use
Exactly.
it
That's my
to
answer to you.
make.
Your last question.
Yeah, yeah. Like I get that. I mean, people suck.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the elites
I
who have
think,
a stake in the existing system aren't gonna let go of it that easily.
yeah, like no
And
way, bud. You think Western Union's like stoked about Bitcoin when like wire transfers cost like 15%?
No, that's why they got XRP.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
There'll be
So
solutions for those
the
guys.
world creates this based off of our own greed. So like XRP got created as a cryptocurrency to get away like around these type of things because people were having issues with these greedy bastards. So innovation, just trying to get around other people's greed. I think this stuff is inevitable.
Yep.
I mean, I'm in the space too, buddy. You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, I get it. We're all pretty like-minded around here.
Indeed, I'm just not convinced that this is actually going to be the savior for the common man. I just think we're going to probably create our own circle of wealthy elites once this space does spring up over the next 20 years, right? We're not exactly, I don't know how altruistic people in the crypto space genuinely are, right? Most developers, most people in the space are trying to get paid, and this idea that this is somehow going to free humanity from the bonds of central banking, I'm not quite convinced yet. I think most of us are in it to get our own, but I'm a little cynical, guys, and I advocate for looking after you and yours. Okay, then before
is making a new all-time low, and as you can see, it got the kiss of death here with a top below zero on time transformation. Just send it to hell. Comp retesting its lows here. I would not mind taking this to the upside here for another test of resistance in this spot. I don't know how long comp may go here, but we do have a trend break, so that is something. Synthetics, we've got a strong continuation signal here on time transformation daily. We're hanging above the point of control in this spot. I don't dislike this. I think we can get above 3,000. Is this 30,000 sats? I think this is 30,000 sats. If we get above 30,000 sats in this spot, then I think I would want to take this long on synthetics right here. I also have been hearing really bullish things about their platform. So, you have a trend break at all? That's a trend break. Yeah. Ah, it's a linear trend. That's it. Okay. This does not look bad for a reversal trade. Hmm. I think you could easily take this back to resistance here at 1200. Like this. I like this the sweep right back up here for like consolidation here. And then we could go up or down. I'm not really sure. It really depends on what happens with the existence of or absence of alt season. But I do like that to swing back up here. Can see looks ugly. This looks trapped below port turned resistance.
Terrible. Yeah.
Weekly's pretty rough looking here.
It looks like you're about to get another weekly cross.
Yeah. We still haven't even broken the trend on this, so I think I would
Downside.
be. What?
I think you got more downside on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's looking ugly.
But if we did get a break of this trend, then that would be what's the word I'm looking for?
Good risk to reward.
Well, at least it would be something to recommend this to us, because right now we've got a cross
Nothing,
under
yeah.
on the daily baseline and we're below resistance. And I bet you if let's look at the actual baseline here. No, I guess we're above the baseline. That's something. That's also something to recommend it, I guess. I'm just not ready to pick
Now,
that up.
well, that's what I would do now is just watch that day to day and watch as the trend line goes and the baseline starts hooking back up. Does the baseline carry price with it cross the trend line or does it break? Then you'd
Yeah,
really know.
that is something to keep our eyes on here.
Yep.
So yeah, we got to keep track of the trend line in the
I
spot.
believe Justin calls that the little gator mouth or whatever. Alligator mouth.
I'm actually not familiar.
Yeah, I'd have to ask him. It's basically when price gets pinched into that little.
Right.
It looks
Why
like an
don't we?
alligator mouth.
Why don't we do some? I know Jack was about to break into audience chart requests, so let's do that, and then we can come back and do forex stuff.
All right, for subtextually, you've got Link USDT and XRP USDT.
All right. Link perp currently above daily resistance. This feels like we're going to pierce through resistance right here now that we've got these two other days right here. So this is pretty strong support turned resistance.
People were listening when we called that long, basically live the other day. Hope people were listening on that.
Mm-hmm. So we've got a nice baseline bounce here with a continuation long. Let's look at the weekly. I would be interested in probably taking this to around $16 at this point. Basically, a return to this consolidation area right here, this order block. So yeah, I really like. And actually, if you look at it more like this right here,
maybe kind of support, resistance becoming support, but
this is interesting. This is a break of an ascending wedge, but I think we can still use the measured move principle here, even though it's breaking in the wrong direction. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we'll see what this is over here.
Maybe you Wally coming in hot with the 777 on
There we
the.
go, $17. So measured move principle takes us to the same area. I like this setup right here. So that's my thought on Link Perp. As far as Link Bitcoin, still trapped here under support turned resistance, but putting an interesting turn on daily time transformation and breaking back above the baseline, sort of. We're still in the channel envelope, so I wouldn't necessarily rush into it in that sense, but I like it. I like this spot. Yeah. All right, and then XRP. Let's look at XRP Bitcoin first. Trading sideways. Better than yesterday. Yesterday we had these, over the past couple days we had these two candles right here. We'll probably get a weekly time transformation by at the end of this week. We'd have to really sell down over the course of the week to not get this, I think, because we're red right now. We're still going to be getting it. I would wait for a stronger reversal signal here on XRP, but the USDT pairing is at an interesting spot. So let's purple be fine. Whoops. Let's turn off baseline here. Gotta love the pitchfork, folks. Yeah, this is a really strong weekly, and it won't be too long until we're above the weekly resistance here. So this is really strong right here. Wow, yeah. I think this is ripe for continuation. We're about to get a really strong 12-hour continuation signal here. We're not yet above the 4-hour resistance. I don't want to tell you to long here at resistance, but if we break above this area, I think you should. I would take this. I would take this long because we're holding pretty strong here. This is where's that support line from? Yeah, this area right here is all essentially resistance turn support. So I like it. I like XRP in this spot. I think a lot of the major alts are starting to look good versus Bitcoin here. But unfortunately, some of them are lagging more than others. For instance, BCH has not been doing hot, but of course we know that they've been having a lot of issues with forks and community not doing well. So this is just a waterfall of death right here. Not interested in knife catching this. Maybe it is really oversold in this spot. I don't know. This happens if we. So you'd be like, oh, hey, it's bouncing off this trend line from way in the past, but I don't know. I'm still not interested in picking this up. What's that look like on the lower time frames here? We could say it hit it. Same story, sort of, for EOS. We've had a really rough go of it, but I imagine we'll probably swing back up into this consolidation area right here. We've put in a lot of volume right here.
Transformation is really interesting there.
Yeah, just
complete divergence.
Yeah, it's super oversold and just staying there. Yeah, we don't even have a trend break here on EOS. I'm not interested in picking that up yet. TRX retesting lows. I'm sorry, we got off a chart request. Please continue.
GB Wallet with $7.77 wants to see comp USD on the 1 hour, please.
Okay, let's go back to comp. All right, so that was Bitcoin. So
comp USD. I think he wants Coinbase.
All right, well, we can. Yeah, I think we've got a nice retest of resistance turn support here on the daily. Let's look at the hourly. Ooh, it's pretty solid right here. Get this out of our way. This is kind of our downtrend stride right here. Yeah, this is a nice double bottom pattern. I like this bounce off of the point of control in this area. I think you could easily take this up to retest this at least, if nothing else. So 120, 122 area. I can see us wicking up to that spot, even if we don't necessarily continue here on lower time frames. Does that make sense?
Okay. Let's take a look at some sushi. Sushi doing well today. That 29 sushi I got sitting somewhere. Whoo, boy.
You are a wealthy man.
I get it.
Why is sushi doing that good?
Let's take a look. I know it's
one of the day's leaders.
Yeah. Basically, the other day I said it would break down. This sort of did. And I said to buy it under $1, but it kind of only wicked to $1.01. So technically, if you were trying to follow my advice,
They were listening to you.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody was listening very hard to me. So yeah, basically, it seems like we've made it back into this trading range. Support has held right here. And if you're long, I would stay long on sushi. I don't see any reason to exit at that point. Yep, nice break of let's see, nice break of resistance here. So this is basically daily resistance, and this was the 4-hour resistance that was broken. There we go.
Oh, it's straight back to $800, baby.
There were some that were having some really great days. I was looking at Limit earlier today. This is for the Limit swap bot. It's something that allows you to do limit orders on Uniswap. They airdropped me 20 tokens once. I don't know much about the topic about the product, but had a good day. What are some other ones that I know that had a good day? I heard Damien was talking about octo pumping earlier today. Oh,
yeah, that was next on the list.
Just been pumping all month long. I bet Damien's been telling us about it too. We just didn't even listen to him. Like, yeah, what's this octo thing?
I see these chats every day, and it doesn't get brought up very often. So,
well, I gotta tell you guys, if I aped into every coin that someone talked to me about, I would be the world's poorest man.
Yeah, broke as hell.
Yeah. So, shout out to Damien who mentioned Octo. As you can see, it's had a good day. But I probably would not buy a green candle like this. I would wait until we were back in a consolidation area of some kind. What other chart requests we got?
Looks like we got Kava USDT for T-Dub. We did already do LTC Litecoin there, T-Dub, so we'll skip past that one.
Yeah.
We did KNC, David Rice, so I'll put ADA on the list as well. I haven't taken a look at ADA in a while.
It's a nice triple top pattern here. This is a lot like comp here, where we've got this is resistance, and then we've broken resistance and we're testing it as support. I would consider this a solid complex inverse head and shoulders. We've got a trend break here. I like this to take long up to 260. I think. I think I want it back up in this area right here. You can see it's very, very strong consolidation area in this spot right here. Retest it again right here. That's what I like. I think it's a really good long, man. Yeah, we
Chameleon. Highs and lows.
we might pull back just a little bit more. I mean, we're pretty far from the baseline right now. But things have been really bullish. So, I mean, especially if you're buying at spot, I mean, you can do worse than picking some up here, taking it to this area for whenever that happens.
Looks like we got some Ethereum Classic on the list for Mike D's fitness journey.
Okay. Ethereum Classic did have a pretty big day.
Yes, it did.
2 days. Yeah.
3 days.
Anyways, I would consider us at resistance right now, although I mean we broke this, so it's a nice weekly signal. I think this bodes well for Ethereum Classic price appreciation in the on a moderate time frame. Like I don't mean like 5 years out or anything like that. Ethereum Classic still lags very, 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 very far behind from Ethereum. But I know a lot of miners are probably going to go over to Ethereum Classic once Ethereum becomes a proof of stake blockchain. There was some very interesting news yesterday on Ethereum Classic where Ethereum Classic got a wrapped ETC available as an ERC20 token. So now you can, so it's a decentralized contract. It's not like wrapped Bitcoin where you got to trust BitGo. You just deposit your Ethereum Classic into the contract address. Out comes your wrapped Ethereum Classic. You can now participate in ERC20 staking and all the different DeFi stuff that you previously could not. So that's a good thing for Ethereum Classic. I think that's rather bullish fundamental news because that's a reason for people to want to be able to hold their Ethereum Classic instead of selling it. They hold it because they're staking it and it's doing stuff. So yeah, so since you mentioned Ethereum Classic, that's something I read yesterday, and I think that's a rather pertinent fact. What's next on our agenda?
Looks like we got ADA.
ADA?
Haven't seen ADA in a while.
I was, of course, looking at it earlier this morning. Similar position to Ethereum, Bitcoin, where it just keeps dropping, and I am not necessarily interested in picking it up in the spot, but it's not like I want to short this spot either.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of waiting for some sort of reversal signal, but we don't have anything yet. We're just hanging out here at the local point of control.
That's flipping a coin right there.
That's what?
That's flipping a coin right there.
Yeah.
Taking
I don't
position
want
on that.
And you know what? When if you invert it, I would actually take this long. I'd be like, yeah, this is going to keep going long. So, yeah, man, I think it's going to keep going short.
It's funny that you said that because last night, when I put up the water signal at close, I was looking at Bitcoin's price on lower time frames, and I'm like, man, I don't feel that good about this position right now. And then I inverted the chart, and I'm like, oh shit, I feel great about this position right now. And then of course Bitcoin went right up to 12. I'm like, this just looks like a retracement, like. So it's kind of funny how you can talk yourself into it, but just like flipping it inverse, like, oh, that's like the whole other argument.
Yeah, exactly. When you look at this, you're like, oh my gosh, like
right.
why on earth would I short this? Well, guys, why on earth would you long this?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would not. It's not a steamroller I want to get in front of, a knife I want to catch, or a market I want to buy right now. What's next on our agenda? Litecoin, another percent while we've been talking.
OXT.
That's Orchid, I believe. That's not very helpful. Let me turn that off. Let's see if we can get a better market to look at this. There we go. This is better.
Interesting spot, but you've already come up and tapped that shelf right there. I'd be curious to see if you get a pullback from there back down to the top of that trend line.
Maybe retest this area one more time. Yeah, I think you
Yeah.
might be right. I think ultimately it would be good to take it back to 40 cents from this area, but I don't. We could retest back down here again before doing that. I don't.
I just feel like that movement was so fast that you're probably gonna get a retracement that's equal to.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like that's past, but keep an eye on it to see if support
Yeah.
holds after it retraces.
Yeah, we're at resistance right now. I would not long here. If we
Mhm.
broke out higher, then I'd be up for it. Maybe take it, like I said, up to 40, 45 cents. Right now, I don't think there's enough
Yeah,
here to really.
I think you're stuck in under a shelf right there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next.
Okay, I think we're flying through them here. QLC? I don't even know what that is. Looking like a dumpster fire.
Yep, it's currently making new all-time low. So
Short it.
yeah, yeah, I probably would not go short in this spot, and so therefore I will probably not go long in this spot. If we make a recovery back up into this area, then it could be a really good long. This could be just this could be a spring. So I mean, if we look at this as like a kind of Wyckoff-ian pattern right here, this is our basing / consolidation area. Spring, we'll get a couple volume pumps back up in the area, continuation up, but that's yet to be determined. We could just we could fall down another level to reaccumulate some more before distributing again.
Project could just give up.
Yeah. Very sad about this signal that popped last week, and then you got slapped in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Have you backtested multiple signals on, like, say, the weekly for time transformation? On just saying, like, okay, what's the most I've ever gotten? Like, say, 4 in a row or 3 in a row.
Here's the problem, is that there's really not enough data on any of the markets to test a firm weekly strategy.
But yeah, you could go down to like the 12-hour, I suppose, though.
Yeah, but then it's not the same,
Yeah, I'd just be curious to see if there's any kind of correlation, if we could get anything out of that data.
Mm-hmm. What's on our agenda?
It is 1 o'clock now, so Jack, is there any kind of news you want to get into here? And then I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
over
can
the
dive in.
course of news, people will have more requests and stuff that we can hit.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's dive into the news real quick, guys. See if
Get
there's
those
any.
likes up. What are you guys doing? There's 57 of you out there watching Bitcoin go up, but you can't give us a thumbs up? Come on.
Exactly, hit those likes, boys. I'm
And
just gonna
ladies.
scroll through the live chat here. I haven't seen too many comments. I see a lot of requests, but we did get through all of them. I see a few guys talking on the topic of money. All right.
Our favorite topic around here. That's what we do for a living. We do money things.
Money.
We take numbers, we put them elsewhere. The numbers become new numbers.
Mm-hmm. It's like a big video game to me.
Look at that high score.
Yep, that's all I'm going for. Consistency. And Bitcoin's making it awfully easy on me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's hop into the news. I'll take a look at a couple stories here. Nothing too crazy, I think, going on in space today. Let me just quickly switch scenes. Couple stories on the regulatory front. I should have probably looked at the News Pulse Premium, see what Alex posts. Alex has usually got his eye on some good trending stories. All right, switching over now. Here we go. And all right, let me just do a little here of my browser. Here we go.
You switched over? Oh, I thought you.
Yep, I'm switching over right now. If you're watching the stream, it's quite delayed. All right. All right, here we are over in the browser. Let me just stretch the screen out for everybody so you can see nice and clear. And for story coming from Cointelegraph, Bloomberg's McGlone thinks Bitcoin could hit 170K over the next 2 years. So one of the things we're going to explore here is some of the bullish and frothy sentiment in the space. Several high-profile people clearly pointing toward BTC's next lofty price goal, I suppose. So according to this article, Bitcoin could hit an all-time high price, then consolidate like gold, according to this analyst from Bloomberg. Let's see here. Bitcoin has risen, of course, to rarely seen previous highs, blah, 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 blah. Bloomberg intelligence strategist Mike McGlone thinks the same could happen with Bitcoin. He's, of course, referring to the rally in gold. So he says short-term, 20,000 is pretty good resistance, he said in an interview. And he says, I'm afraid it's probably going to do what gold did. It got to 2,000, and then it's been consolidating in a bull market since. So I guess his thesis is that...
Patient, man. Jesus.
Yeah, we're going to hit 20K, and then he thinks we're going to probably linger around there. So the key thing about Bitcoin this year is very simple. It just added a 1 to the front of the number. Remember, it was around 7,000 at the end of last year. What I'm worried about, if you look at the past performance, which is potentially indicative of the future, next year or two could add 0 to the back of the number. Ooh, boy.
Wait, I've heard past performance is not indicative of future results.
As he says, potentially indicative. That's the word there, but
And I could add that to a lot of my sentences and make them true.
Yeah.
0. So adding a 0 to the price would bring us to 170K. So this is his future projection puts us there. Bitcoin already breached 18K during his interview. Blah blah blah. He touched on other important points, including a reference to this price swings, Bitcoin becoming a digital version of gold. And one key point that's happening this year is Bitcoin's volatility has been declining. In fact, it's its lowest ever since gold, or lowest ever versus gold. He also explained how Bitcoin's volatility against NASDAQ, a common mainstream market barometer, every other risk asset on the planet, volatility has been increasing. Bitcoin has been declining. I'm not sure if Bitcoin's volatility is still super low with this recent spring up to these current price levels, but I'll grant him that for a period of the year, we definitely did have some low volatility. McGlone also mentioned institutional FOMO on Bitcoin is in line with money printing. This year has seen a number of mainstream financial players buy sacks of Bitcoin. Okay, good.
Yeah, you said nothing.
Yeah, I know, guys. Sorry about all that, guys. I ended up closing my VPN, and it looks like everything's working again. Am I back? Am I still coming in clearly? Okay, good. All right, sorry for the giant delay, everybody. I don't know where we left off, but I was talking about this Bloomberg analyst batting the stands. That's.
See you again, Jack.
Oh my God! Please tell me we didn't lose me again.
Oh my God, we lost me again.
I don't know what is happening with him.
Looks like my network connection's fucked today, guys. I have to tell you, even my VPN off.
Now you're back.
Am I back?
Now you're back.
Yeah, not sure what to tell you guys. My apologies, but even with my VPN off, it seems my connection is messed up today, so I'm not sure what's going on. I might have to cut the stream early. Obviously, this is unwatchable if my connection cuts out every couple of minutes, but I don't know. Maybe we're smooth right now.
Seems fine.
Okay, thank God. All right, I'm going to quickly try and get through these couple stories that I was trying to read off. I'm not sure how much of you heard of my talk on Mr. McGlone's from Bloomberg's estimate for $170,000 Bitcoin. But I'm going to kick over to the next story, and I cross my fingers that I'm still live. You guys still hear me?
Yep.
Okay, brilliant.
Yep, I can hear you.
Wonderful. All right, quickly segueing into the next story. Launch of crypto banks imminent, says OCC chief Brian Brooks. So we did cover the office of the comptroller of the currency and his appointment, Mr. Brian Brooks. I think he was the former chief legal officer over at Coinbase, who moved over, who was appointed by Trump, I think, to the comptroller of the currency. And in an interview with Forbes, the head of the OCC revealed that there are a few crypto firms beelining for the trust charter with the OCC in order to provide crypto banking services. So, stress the need to balance banks' ability to service their clients' digital asset needs and to maintain the current levels of government regulation and oversight. This balance, Brooks believes, will imminently involve crypto banks. So, I think that this is very cool, and I do think this is likely a likely development in the near term. Your local traditional financial institutions are probably going to start offering ways to deposit your crypto and offer more, a bit of a merging between traditional finance and digital wallets, right? As Brian Brooks says, the point is it's important for both the entrepreneurs who are trying to grow their companies and for customers who don't want to be deprived of access of something to get across a state line that we have a single national platform, and that's what federal banking regulation is about. And by extension, if we have crypto banks, which I think we will very shortly, I think it is in their interest that they'll have to comply with one set of rules nationwide. That's the way markets grow. So I think this is kind of a good bullish kind of indicator when the OCC head says that they're preparing for banks to embrace crypto. So very decent development. But again, this is what we kind of could expect after the appointment of Brian Brooks, right? Seemingly something about this appointment signaled an embrace by regulators of digital currencies, I suppose, and this new budding industry.
It's another one of those things that I just kind of deem as inevitable, you know?
Totally.
Well, it's a blessing and a curse to see crypto adopted by the big institutions. I mean, obviously we know it's good for price, but
We like our Bitcoin. You can't have it.
yeah, but I mean, the more Bitcoin is controlled by the banks, the
Yeah.
more there's a
I
chance that the institutions are gonna, find a way to get the U.S. government to legislate away Bitcoin and the independent cryptocurrencies until we're just using central bank digital currencies and other similarly
a way to get their
crappy
cut.
Yeah, although I do think that some of these cryptos from the decentralized early days are going to make the cut. I'm afraid others may not. I do think there's going to be a great regulatory culling of a lot of cryptos in the near future. And I think one of the next stories will touch on that. Of course, it's worth noting, this is something we covered earlier this year, was that Brian Brooks, they did earlier this year, along with the OCC, allow banks to hold Bitcoin, right? So I think they made a new ruling saying that Bitcoin can be held by banks. So that was earlier this year, and now Brian Brooks is kind of reaffirming that after making that ruling, banks are going to be anticipated to jump in here. So again, this is kind of these are the trends that we follow months at a time on this show. Moving along to the next story before we get back to the boys. Bitcoin will face more regulation as payment method, says the SEC chairman, right? So this is another story out of the regulatory folder. SEC Chair Jay Clayton said that Bitcoin should be regulated closer to something like a payment mechanism or store of value than a security, right? So if you didn't think the regulators were coming for Bitcoin, they certainly will, and they're going to want to try to implement as much KYC and AML and all the other regulatory stuff onto Bitcoin as they can. We'll see how that works out. As he says, inefficiencies with our current payment mechanisms have been driving Bitcoin adoption, said Jay Clayton. And as Bitcoin becomes more popular, other federal agencies may step up enforcement. So as Bitcoin begins to shine and start getting buzzed about again like it was in 2016, expect to catch the attention of regulators. So just a little warning for you out there, guys. They got Bitcoin on their radar, and they're probably going to find a way to. I don't see an all-out banning or anything like that. I don't know if they're going to restrict Bitcoin really in any way. But they are going to try to integrate it, right? And one of those integrations might very well be your local bank says, come deposit your Bitcoin with us. In fact, the government recommends you only keep your Bitcoin on deposit with them. Something like that I could see happening.
Somewhere they
Right?
can access it.
Precisely. And there's also the worry that it's going to be a black hole for crypto, right? So as local banks start offering digital wallet services, it might, these are going to be custodial services that will make it almost impossible to pull your crypto out of the system again, right? So once you deposit your Bitcoin with your local Chase Bank, regulation might be such that they will never ever send your crypto back to your private wallet again, and slowly we'll have the crypto space enveloped by like a giant custodial regime, right? That's the fear, and why maybe not a good idea to deposit your entire bag of Bitcoin at the local bank just yet. All right, so that's the Jay Clayton story. Again, a couple of regulatory developments today. And finally, this is the last story I've been saving. I kind of mentioned this at the beginning of the show. And it says if you're in the Bitcoin for the long haul, there's a reasonable path to 500,000 within the next decade, with, of course, the 12-month trajectory, 100K. So back in June, this particular writer wrote that Wall Street remaining on the sidelines is not necessarily bad for the crypto industry, while most traditional investors are still observing Bitcoin's mainstream momentum that's been building for the last 4 months. Bitcoin's price has been hovering 19. Yeah, we know all that. When we talk about asset valuation, the first step is to always understand the fundamental economics. Equities, bonds, and real estate, for example, generally derive value from generating cash flow. Therefore, valuation of these assets involves projecting future cash flows. Commodities, on the other hand, are more utility-based, so their prices are anchored by industrial supply and demand. And so here's the question: how does Bitcoin fit into these frameworks? Right? It doesn't necessarily generate cash flow, and it's not quite a utility-based commodity either, right? So as this writer says his utility for Bitcoin is that it's used as sound money and is the first native internet currency in human society. Yep. It's scarce with a fixed supply. It's durable as being digital. These are typical talking points for Bitcoin that we're all familiar with. It's accessible. The blockchain's online 24/7. It's divisible, verifiable, and most importantly, censorship resistant. And with these superior monetary qualities in one asset, Bitcoin is a great store of value. Once it reaches a critical mass of adoption as a store of value, Bitcoin has a huge potential to grow into a global reserve currency over time, as well as universal unit of account. And indeed, I think this is what most of us are kind of aiming for. Certainly mass adoption with the flavor of store of value, not so much medium of exchange. And indeed, it seems the goal is to be a bit of a digital gold, right? So, as this writer predicts, I think, what did he say? 100 grand at the end of this cycle, and 500 grand by the end of the decade, right? And
30.
so he goes through his justifications here, including obviously the Fed and how much they print and the inflation and what's going on with the global markets. But he also plays a little devil's advocate in this story. So if anybody wants to look at this one, it's kind of interesting, give you an idea what the risks remain in Bitcoin. This is still experimental, guys, and this is still high risk speculative investment. And so he points out some of the risks. So one of the main ones, of course, being protocol risk. The risk always comes from within. Bitcoin has inherent value, but only because of its unique characteristics of sound money. But if the protocol happened to be compromised in some way, that could lead to hard forks and other issues, and could potentially destroy the currency. So yes, there are potential faults or glitches or issues that could end up derailing Bitcoin. But again, probably one of the more sound currencies out there. I imagine even in catastrophic scenarios, I imagine the community would rally to recover. The other risk, of course, is political. Bitcoin being positioned as the future of money, it's possible that sovereign governments ban it for fear of threatening fiat currencies. So we do have to worry about the political, aka regulatory risk of Bitcoin being banned out of existence, but that's going to be a difficult one, even for the all-powerful regulators. And of course, adoption risk. So this is a timing risk, according to the author. It's quite possible that it might take much longer than expected for Bitcoin to go mainstream. Nevertheless, new quality of Bitcoin will speak for itself. I do think that a lot of people overestimate how quickly we will go mainstream. I almost feel that we may never go mainstream. might end up living in a world where most people live hand to mouth, dependent on government, and stuff like these premium digital assets that might be expensive to even transfer for the average person might remain, the assets and playthings of the uber wealthy, right? So I'm not quite sure if this whole mainstream adoption thing will ever come to pass, but I guess my financial thesis doesn't really need it to, right? We just need the big players at the poker table to accept and adopt it, not so much this whole mass adoption dream. So, interesting article. Like I said, it's here at Cointelegraph. Time is our best friend. Bitcoin's 12-month trajectory to 100K. I do recommend people check it out. It's some interesting op-ed piece here from Hong Fang at Cointelegraph. All right. Hopefully, everybody heard me there, and my microphone or my connection did not drop out. All right.
I heard you the whole time.
Brilliant. All right. Well, connection returned, and we're back. All right, I'm going to quickly hop into the live chat. I'll read a couple comments back, and then I'll pass the mic back to Alex or Jason, and they'll give us our closing thoughts, maybe a few closing requests, and we'll head to the exits. So quickly jumping into the live chat. I see quite a few people pointing out the connection was destroyed for a little while. My apologies. And let's see here. Damon Hughes, is DFT DFiat or draft coin? No, it's DFiat. Microcaps, yep. Sept actually says they got a dip. All right, no problem. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you maybe on Friday. Mason Scroggins. Hi, I'm new here and I just subbed. Well, Mr. Mason, it's a pleasure to have you. Welcome to a very hardcore community of traders and no bullshitters. All right, guys. So welcome, Mr. Mason. Be sure to check us out, discord.krakencryptocurrency.com. You can join our Discord and get to know everybody a little better. Boris Bitcoin, hey guys, can you check out Aave USD if you have a chance? I think we did. Did we look at the Aave yet, guys? We're going to look at Aave if we didn't.
Did not look at Aave.
Okay, we will get into Aave shortly. I wish there was a BTC forecast aggregator so we can track the price targets of all these pundits. Every news story of Bitcoin headed to price X feels like white noise at this point. Damien Hughes pointed that out. I think that's a good comment. I almost want to make a punch bowl of Bitcoin hopium stories. That's kind of what Damon Hughes is pointing out here. That we can aggregate all our hopium news headlines into one spot to kind of give us a little booster shot every day of why we're in here. Let's see here. Damon Hughes, legacy banks will have to hire completely different people if they want to dabble in crypto. Current retail banks have an atrophied workforce with no conceptual framework for even understanding crypto or blockchain tech. Kind of feels that way, but if there's anybody that has a budget to embrace new technology, it very well might be these banks. And maybe once the regulatory hurdles are cleared, they'll be all in. And of course, we're going to need probably consumer demand, which I don't think is totally there yet. I don't think most of the clients of these commercial banks are deep into crypto and looking for their bank to extend crypto services to them, so it might be a little while to go before we get there. Let's see here. Any other questions? I got a lot of scrolling to do, so maybe what I will do is I'll quickly switch scenes so you guys stop looking at my YouTube on YouTube scene here. Go back to Alex's.
I heard you like YouTube, so I put YouTube inside your YouTube so you can YouTube while YouTubing.
Precisely. How about that?
Mind break.
All right, let me Alex here. Let's go click Alex's watch stream, and I should be back. All right. All right, Alex, I got you on screen, but I'm not sure if there's much purpose for that if we don't have any other requests. Jason, do we have any other last minute requests coming across? Aave. Okay, let's do Aave, and then maybe we'll bounce.
Ave Maria. All right.
Sing it to me.
Looks kind of topped out in this spot. We're getting a sell signal here. We're currently below the previous high. If if you're in a long, I wouldn't necessarily dump it yet. I don't think we have a trend break. Let's see. We do have a trend break. What's that look like on lower time frames? This looks solid to me. Like, I don't know if the trend necessarily broke there, or let's turn off log. Maybe this is a linear trend. Well, if it's linear, then we don't have a broken trend yet, do we? Okay, well, it's something to consider. Possible broken log trend. Trading up here at what looks like pretty solid resistance. If we broke this and we started trading above this, I would be willing to long it again. Elsewise, I would be taking profits in this spot and prepare for a breakdown back into to kind of range in between these price levels right here. That's how I feel about Abe right now.
Well, there you have it. There's your Boris Bitcoin. I hope that more or less covers your Aave request. And Crypto Caveman says, joining late but better than never. Big hello. Yep, hello. Big hello to Crypto Caveman. And okay, I think that kind of puts us at the end. Jason, I don't think we have anything else pending, right?
Litecoin still traveling. Oh man, that's really strong.
Go, baby, go. I got a
Yeah,
little bit of
Litecoin doing work. Jesus.
Yeah, Litecoin's putting in, like, it's basically the strongest out of strongest out of the major alts. You don't really see any minor alts putting in those kind of it's basically only DeFi coins that are putting anything close to it. So very big day for Litecoin. Keep your eyes on it, guys.
Yeah, interesting developments in the space at this point. Maybe we're on the verge of some money flowing into the alts. I'm sure there's a lot of alt bag holders out there that are looking for their time in the sun, right?
Yeah.
Boris Bitcoin says, thank you, Alex, for looking at Aave real quick for us. Our pleasure. All right, guys, if there's any final thoughts, anything else you want to talk about, or anything else we want to throw in here before I start heading toward the exit?
For me, not really much. It's kind of a typical day. I mean, yes, we're getting a lot of volatility out of Bitcoin and it's going up, but I mean, in terms of trading day, I mean, it's great volatility to trade. But I mean, we're bullish still till we have evidence of not being bullish. I mean, we keep making new highs, so I'm just gonna keep taking my signals at this point. But I mean, just make sure you're all position sizing correctly because we're gonna get a lot of these movements. Don't go all in on one because you're gonna get wrecked.
It's a very good point.
Yep, very good point. And indeed, the trend is not yet broken. So as topped out as we sort of feel here, at least that's how I felt last night looking at the charts. It feels kind of toppy right now. I wouldn't discount the ability to break out even higher. Right, we might very well test the all-time highs or even higher.
I mean, the group knows that I'm in a long right now myself, up to what is it?
18,570 something, wasn't it?
I put it into the thing with the ATR, so it changed to 18,457, so it didn't put in a new high.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to see something like 24K before we get a sharper pullback.
I really do feel like we're gonna get FOMO to a blow off top. I really do.
I'd like to see 300K before we get a pullback.
Me too. I'll see you guys later if it hits 300K.
No kidding.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you again, everybody who watched the show. If you're going to be tuning in on the replay, make sure to hit that like button after the show. And
yes, please, let's get up to 50 likes, guys.
Yeah, try to hit the likes. There's still 40 some of you watching, so if any of you haven't hit the like button yet, this is the time to grab your device and hit that like button. All right. I think we're heading toward the exit now, finally, though. So thanks again, everybody who hung out with us for the show. Mr. Wally, Damon Hughes, T-Dub, Subtext, Jordan, Beef Low, Boris Bitcoin, all the regulars. I didn't see Philip Carr in here today, but Mr. Ether was in here, so shout outs to everybody. It's been a good show. Thank you again. We'll probably be back tomorrow for our Friday episode, and hopefully Bitcoin does something interesting in the meantime. All right, heading toward those exits, so say your farewells, everybody. This is it for us.
See you, everyone. Trade safely.
Farewell.
Cheers, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.